Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to another predictions and speculation with the Star Wars lads here for the Bad Batch Season 2. We're talking about Episode 6 this week, Tribe. This is coming out on Wednesday on Disney Plus. We will be diving into all the things that we think might happen in this episode. But before we do so, please hit that like button down below. We're trying to get this video to about 35 likes. So if you can get us there, that would be greatly appreciated in helping us out with the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to our channel. It will really help us out. If we can get to 1,500 subs here pretty soon, we will be pretty happy. That's a big goal of ours as we get closer and closer to The Mandalorian. We would love your subscriptions here on our channel. Make sure you comment below. Also, let us know your predictions. We like interacting with you guys down in the comments, and we always get some great predictions as well. So let's dive into The Bad Batch, Season 2, Episode 6, Tribe. Tribe invokes a lot of different meanings, obviously. It could mean very open-ended. It could mean a variety of things. And with these one-word titles these last few weeks, we are definitely stretching at times with our predictions for what it could possibly mean because there is no clear direction. Also, with the episodic nature of the Bad Batch, it's always harder to pinpoint something. We're relatively on track last week, going pretty basic with Entombed, meaning that the Bad Batch were going to be trapped in some type of like structure rock thing, something. They were going to get trapped somewhere, and they were for all intents and purposes, but they kind of purposely walk into the trap this time. Sanak, any thoughts right off the bat on what you think tribe might mean and what's going to happen in that episode?
Well, I guess right off the bat, I do have a thought even before that of how when our channel was first getting going and Bad Batch Season 1 was coming out, I don't believe we knew the titles, or at least we didn't know the titles for the weekly drops. And I felt like we were a little bit more accurate with our predictions back then than having these titles. So, if anything, they've been throwing us off a little bit, which is surprising. But as far as the title goes, like you said, simple might be the best route. I like to dream a little bigger and see what these short titles could really evolve into something more. I think, regardless of how these episodes are structured moving into the mid-season finale, I think we still have to kind of eventually build back up towards a bit more serious Bad Batch story. So I would think Tribe would be a good time for possibly like a Kashyyyk mission or something to happen. I know there was a released art of the Bad Batch arc that was supposed to happen at the end of the Clone Wars when we returned to these characters after their initial arc. And it was them doing stuff on Kashyyyk with the Wookiees who are like riding on those big, like monkey like creatures. I believe that an official image has been released for that as well. And what I'm thinking is like, yes, Liam, you have mentioned constantly. I think Gungi could come in the next episode, and I think this could be the strongest chance of that happening. But I feel like that's going to be like the shot that we see in the trailer will be like the end of episode, like tease into the build up towards that mid season finale. Especially when I think about Kashyyyk, yeah, we've seen the battles in Revenge of the Sith, but I think more of the Knights of the Old Republic with the Shadowlands and a lot of like crazy, insane creatures. I think of Jedi Fallen Order and like the little moments that we've had there, just even exploring the outskirts. So and up into the big tree. So I think we could do some really interesting exploration there. And I think that's where that shot of everyone on the big monkeys really comes into play. I'm assuming we're helping a tribe if we're gonna make it simple, but I think we could also have it be maybe them after a couple episodes of just kind of doing their own thing separately or now coming back together for like a fun mission in Tomb. Maybe they're like sitting down or as they're on this mission, they're really trying to figure out the Bad Batch. Like, what are we? Like, we've been living a good life, but are we going to go towards like what Echo is saying and help out Rex? Are we going to just become treasure hunters? Are we just going to become the constant, lackeys and people for Sid? Is this our life forever? I think this could be a good time for them while they're still helping an actual tribe to understand what their tribe is as well.
I think that all those are really spot on. I think the Kashyyyk thing is a really good shout because we saw a lot of Wookiees, especially in that like first trailer that we got in way back in Celebration. there was a Wookiee there that I remember when I first saw him, I thought he looked like Tarful, but I don't think it was Tarful. But we could have some type of thing like that. This episode, the way last season worked, I think this episode will definitely at least have some type of tag that gets us either back to the Crosshair or Rampart POV, or it will get us uh, hinting at their approach or some type of consequences for something that happened that's going to cause them to come back into our part one, part two mid-season episodes. It could be, Kashyyyk is heavily occupied by the Imperials at this time. So if the Bad Batch show up there, that's obviously a big reason for the Imperials to come after them. And it would be a high profile appearance. Right now, we've talked about in the past, Rampart seems to be taking the approach of, well, as long as the Bad Batch don't bother us, I'm not going to really actively pursue them because I don't want Tarkin to know that they're still alive. So if they show back up and Tarkin's like, you were supposed to have killed these guys, why are they here on Kashyyyk, on one of our most important planets for labor in the galaxy, then I think that would kickstart Crosshair and Rampart back into it. I think the other direction I could go, similar to how you ended yours with the tribe of their little group, and I think that's probably very accurate as well. But the larger clones group is in general as well. I think that could also be hinted at. Tribe, Rex, Cody, any other types of characters that are out there that could possibly connect to the Bad Batch and the core of what they are and who they are versus the rest of the clones, and how do they relate to the clone group as a whole. I think that's a story we haven't touched on yet this season. We started it last season. We got hints of it at the beginning of episode 1 with Echo and with Hunter. I want to see more of that, and we haven't touched on that in 2 weeks, so that could be something that we talk about as well. I think based on the Kashyyyk stuff, I think you're probably on the right track, or at least that's where we're going in these next 3 episodes. I want to see Gungi though. I'm ready for my Jedi. Like, I want to see or hear if Gungi survived, or like how he survived, what caused him to survive. Was he saved by another Jedi? Where was he during Order 66? A lot of stuff like that. I'd like to learn more about Gungi. And also, is he hiding on Kashyyyk? Is he pretending to be a normal Wookiee? Where is he living? Or, how is he adapted to life post Order 66? Because at this point, and we're not sure exactly how long it's been in the Bad Batch, but we would assume about a year at least, maybe longer. So Gungi survived for quite a while. What's his deal and what's he doing? I'd like to see that. But I think another infusion of Rex or some type of tag from Rex would also be good, because I think Rex and Cody will probably be a part of that mid-season episode, 2-part episode that we are going to be getting. Any thoughts there on the clone aspect of what could happen next episode, or the Imperial aspect?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because I don't know how I let it slip my mind, but Kashyyyk in both Legends and canon, immediately after Revenge of the Sith, is populated by more than just Wookiees, right? Like you said, Imperial occupation, slavery, that all that stuff is happening, and that doesn't hasn't changed between these two uh, eras of Star Wars storytelling. But we could be in a treat, because I think this could be a great way to like do the thing where we saw in like Siege of Mandalore, where they talked about the Chancellor's kidnapping. It felt like that scene that they're referencing, that Mace Windu was referencing, is spot on with the scene of the kidnapping of Coruscant in 2003 Clone Wars. I think what we could do here, legends wise, is, well, the Republic Commando game, the final mission is on Kashyyyk. We've Sev, I believe, is stranded. He's MIA in at this time period. It would fit in Legends. It would fit in canon. We've already seen potentially members of Delta Squad in the first season, so this could be like a really interesting pickup, because not only do we get to see like a more OG Republic Commando, we could also have like a Rex be like, this guy is super valuable to us. We really need him, alongside like a Gregor and myself. and his tactics, maybe seeing if he wasn't affected by Order 66 because he was out in the wilderness or whatever to survive. We have technically Quinlan Voss rumored to be alive too on Kashyyyk at the same time. Luminara Unduli, she was also on the planet at this point. There are a lot of reasons for the Bad Batch to be contacted by Rex or a Cody to save a Jedi or get some whereabouts. Maybe Gungi is like, this is, you're expecting all these big stars and you might end up with a Gungi, and that's that's a comment on like this is what Bad Batch is priority wise in storytelling, but also the expectations of like a Rex and everyone what they're trying to go for. But in truth, you can only find this one kid who maybe an Omega notices as like, oh, he's a little different. He's someone I want to like hang out with more so than a revered Jedi master or a guy who's got literal blood on his armor as part of his paint job. So it is a very busy planet at this point in time, both Legends and canon, and I could see maybe that could be a reason to bring them there, but then they stumble onto whatever mission they're on or whatever happens, and then Gungi is the final result of whatever they latch onto, I guess.
Yeah, because Gungi in the trailer, if I remember right, he's like grabs his lightsaber out of somebody's hand and seemingly defending the Bad Batch or defending himself from something there with him. He's hiding. I think it could be that type of thing. I think the Bad Batch. I mean, Gungi would pair nicely also with the way the show started, which was with Kanan and them letting a youngling escape or go off on his own, or a very young Padawan go off on his own. Gungi could be kind of their redemption for that. And Omega wasn't a part of that initially, but maybe Echo. Echo needs to be that driving force that connects the Bad Batch back to the rest of Clone Wars and back to the rest of the galaxy, really, because Omega's never really seen or experienced the rest of the galaxy. She doesn't really know what her role is. The Bad Batch, by nature, want to avoid everybody else and stick to their group. Echo is the one that's kind of caught in between two worlds, and we already saw that in that first episode. I really want to get back there. I think another appearance from Rex or a message from Rex, something that divides the group and makes them kind of choose where their direction is heading into that mid-season episode, I think would be a really nice way to tie it all back together. And Gungi would be the perfect type of thing that Rex would call and be like, you got to save this kid. You guys can do it. And the rest of the batch is like, why is it so important? And then they realize he's a Jedi, and then it's important to Echo because Echo had a great relationship with the Jedi. So I think all of that would be really strong. Maybe we'll get something like that. But I think at the core, both of our predictions, at the core of all of it is a sense of family and a group and belonging. And I think that's where we're going next episode. Is hopefully we're getting a bit more character depth than we did in Entombed. And Faster was kind of one-sided with Tech. I think this will be something that's really important for the group dynamic moving forward. So that's our predictions for The Bad Batch, Season 2, Episode 6. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't yet, hit that like button down below. Comment below. Let us know what you think will happen in this episode. Also, give us a sub if you are not subscribed so far. We do a lot of Star Wars content. We have Jedi Fallen Order streams coming out every single Friday. So if you're watching this today and you haven't checked out our streams, we'll be streaming tonight. Make sure you check that out. And if you missed it, then tune in next Friday as well. We answer your questions live. So you want to check those out and send us in your questions to be answered and have a direct conversation with us. Check out our other Bad Batch coverage. We will be reviewing episode 6 next week and giving you predictions, speculation for 7 and 8 the following week. Also have a bookshelf tour coming out on Monday, the updated 2023 tour. So make sure you're checking that video out. And we posted a tier list as well at the beginning of the week, talking about Legends characters versus canon characters and which versions of the characters we like best. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.